Welcome back, everyone, and it's time for Kleese's gear review. I finally got his legendary. It took me a while to get through all of his lore because rift kills take a while, but here I kind of have 4 different loadouts to look at and talk about. But first, let's talk about some specifics with Kleese. There's a few ways to play Kleese, and I actually do need to do one more video kind of covering kind of rift versus mortar sometimes. You can build for both, but you can definitely specialize in one or the other depending on how you're playing. So Kleese loves stacking shield capacity to increase his mortar damage. Kleese a lot of times really needs survival because he's somewhat of a glass cannon who's slow. So anytime you can stack recharge or health regen or health capacity, it helps. His negatives he can easily accept is mainly reload speed. You could do a few others, but you can't do any shield stuff. You definitely don't want to do health stuff. You don't want to sacrifice movement. You don't actually want to sacrifice heal power either, since he does heal people. So it's mainly reload. You can do a little bit of recoil, but you do start to feel it. But before I go into his loadouts here, I'm just going to go back to him as an overview in case you guys didn't remember the last video because it was a while ago. So, you put out his energy rifts, and these do pulses that deal 83 damage and heal for 83 damage, shields to your teammates and damage to them. Energy mortars, you put out 6 mortars that do 22 damage each and do bonus damage to shields. And when I went over his helix tree, I kind of was not being a huge friendly on firing the mortars to add 100% shield as damage. But when you stack your shield capacity, add another 4 mortars to go to 10, and do the one they bounce so they can hit multiple times, you really start to wreck stuff. And then here you can add extra shield strength and then stack extra shields, and you can do some crazy damage with that, but you are vulnerable. So I guess let's go over some of these. So first, let's look at his legendary item. He gains shield recharge per second, which he needs his shields and he wants them up, so that's not bad. But it's, like I said, for Shanor, it's not my favorite thing. I would rather have shield capacity on him. Skill damage, that's always good because that will help the mortars and the rifts both, obviously. And then his special on here is kind of cool. I haven't played with this enough yet to be 100% on it or against it, but healing allies charges Kleese's shield by 50% of healing done. So just by having rifts out there, you are getting your shield recharged, and if you're doing the mortar build, that's kind of good. And if you pick his first skill, instead of going with bonus damage to shields on the rifts, if you go to the shield heal and you do the bouncing mortars where you can kind of hit your allies and them, that can kind of help keep you in the fight. So that's kind of cool. I don't know if it's worth 1800, but it's pretty solid. So on this build, I was kind of just playing around with his legendary. What I also did is shield recharge delay and then skill damage. So this way he can put out his mortars and get his shield back really fast, even if he's not in his rifts, between the both of these. And then so you can activate them. But the double stack of skill damage on top of that might work out pretty decently. You won't get as big of hits, but you'll be able to do them more often safer and get your shields back safer. You could easily swap this for shield capacity, but I kind of had that in the build above, so I wanted to kind of show something like that. So on the mortar build, this is the gear build I've been using for that. This re-knitter is pretty nice because you can get a lot more health with him. That keeps him safer, but you're adding to your shield strength. And then here, shield strength and shards, which just help you get up there faster. Nothing wrong with that. And then skill damage. Now sometimes if I'm having trouble activating this, I will put the shard generator here. But between these two, you're stacking your shield pretty good. You are adding to your skill damage. And you're helping them activate. So it's got pretty good synergy here. And this build does a lot of damage with Kleese. But you can die easily if you're not careful because you have no way to heal. Next I have my rift set up. This one is more on survival. I have the same skill damage here. I wish this was max stats, but I don't have one yet as that. Health regen, just because he doesn't have any of this in his build. And then adding to health and some shield recharge to make me survive better. Because with the rifts, if you die, your rifts go away. So this is more like a build for the saboteur and items like that, where you're gonna get to those points, set up your rifts, sit in your rifts, and just kill everything around you, and you don't want to get overrun, and if your rifts go down, you want to be able to survive. So this is kind of a survival build based around just having your rifts stationary. In a movement map, I wouldn't do something like this. And then this is one I just started playing with because I got the Bunker Buster pretty recently. This would be more of a mortar build again, but you have so many ways to do bonus damage to shields that this on top of that, so right now I have 21% shield penetration and 10.5 there, which gives me more bonus damage to shields, the minus recoils, whatever, but then I add maximum shield strength to add to my mortars. And because this is purple and legendary, I threw on a shard extractor here, but you could do, if you think you could activate it all, throw on the skill damage here, which I can't do that direction. Whoops. Okay. Game work. There. Now this way you will have a ton of skill damage. Her skill damage, boosting your shields, bonus damage to shields. This, if you could activate all three of these without a problem, because this wouldn't be a story really build, this would be a PvP build, which it might be hard to activate this many items. But if you can, you are going to rip people's shields down and do a ton of damage to them. So that's a couple different ways I was looking at playing Kleese with gear and what he typically likes. You know, his favorite thing I think is shield stacking because the mortar builds are so effective. But with that, you want some either health or whatever. He loves skill damage because the pulse of the rifts and the mortars, you know, that's where he's doing his damage. His basic attack is not where he's pumping out damage. Health regen is always good on him, or, you know, stacking and adding some health, because that is one category where he's pretty weak on. He has a very small health pool and a small, you know, regular shield size, but he is pretty squishy. So that's kind of how I look at Kleese stuff. Movement speed, because he's slow, could be a good thing, but I don't know. Usually I play around that with him, and I've never seen him get fast enough to kind of survive from movement speed buffs, so kind of just ignore those. Attack damage on some of these could be alright if they had a good secondary. I don't really have an attack damage I would really... I mean, I guess maximum health. If this was attack damage and maximum shield, I might look at it. Well, actually, I do have this one here, but it still hasn't been quite what I'm looking for. I could swap this for the skill damage here, but I don't know if that'd really be worth it. I mean, it would have 3 items all boosting shields here, but it might be hard to activate. You know, this is already pretty tough to activate all this, because this is only when your shields are down. But, you know, that could be something I slip in. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about all this, and I will see you later. Bye.